Today I want to talk about buying back your time. And when spoken, right, the normal person would think about, oh, rich people buy back their time when they have a lot of money, right? Not think the average person can also buy back their time. Buying back your time is a term that's subjugated to you having another passion and you able having the ability to subtract time from other areas and add it on to now your passion, right? So when does this work, and what areas can you subjugate money to buying back your time? Well, let's think about it, right? And I wish I definitely had done something like this earlier on, right? Because I'd saved up quite a bit of money, right? Tens of thousands of dollars, right? Just from working, right? But I wasn't able, I was working minimum wage, right? I was working at a grocery store. And it definitely taught me something. I definitely got pissed off that I was in the Matrix, right? I definitely got pissed off that during 2021, right? 2022, yeah, 2022, I was so pissed off because inflation went up 30%. And I was like, what the fuck? I lost 30% of my money. And that was close thousands of dollars. I'll just put it at that. It was thousands of dollars that I lost. So I was like, I'm fucking done, bro. Because like, think if you just worked for free for the whole year, pretty much. You just worked for free for the whole year because inflation went up 30%. So you're like, what the fuck? So it taught me one thing, right? Working at that grocery store taught me one thing. I need to find another thing to where I can just make an unlimited amount of money. And that was like doubling down on trading. And like, I want to be honest, like right now, like I'm not making money in trading, but I will be. I'm just like refining some of the last things, and yeah, I want to start trading like uh, like really taking it seriously tomorrow, because it's all about mindset. But back to buying back your time. So I worked at the grocery store for 3 years, right? After about I worked there for a whole summer, right? And after that summer, I could have bought myself a Sauron, right? To which is everybody knows what a Sauron is. It's just an electric, pretty much dirt bike, but electric bicycle. And for like $4 grand, right? They were cheaper at that time. $4 grand, right? But I was so conditioned from like my parents and stuff saying that saving money and having a big bank account balance is way better than spending money. But if you think about it, right? If I had took $4,000, bought a Sauron, that then could get me to way more jobs, right? Because like think like the battery range on it is like 70 or 80 miles. You're able to ride 50 miles an hour. So I literally could have got a job wherever the hell I wanted and made, you know, probably $3-4 more dollars at that time, because that time was, that was, I started working in 2020, and that time was like right around COVID, and like stop jobs hadn't, like the incremental pay, like the pay hadn't went up that much at that time. So it was like I probably could have got a job for like $3-4 more dollars, making like $16-17 an hour, right? But I didn't think about it that way. I thought about, hey, I need to save this money, right? I need to save more and more money, right? I never thought about, because I always thought about modes of transportation through a vehicle, right? I was very like economical in my thinking, and that was through like my grandfather just teaching me, save your money, live, below your means, this and that. But think, I could have used that serum and went and got another job, right? Or went and got a different job, right? Yeah, another job. No, a different job, right? Because I would have, quit the grocery store for $4,000. But I would have been making $4 an hour more, right? And from that summer until the next summer, I worked like 1,200 hours. So that would have been almost 5 grand more. I could have then sold the Suron, got my license, got a vehicle, and I could have still sold the Suron for $3,000. So I would have only lost $1,000 on the Suron, right, on the electric bicycle, and then, but in return, I would have got paid. I would have come out positive 4,000 more dollars, right? And at that time, the 1,200 hours that I was working, I made like, I think like $12,500 after taxes and stuff like that. So if I had got this earned, then I would have made close to like 17 grand, or yeah, close to 17 grand. And then minus 1,000 for the expenses of the Suron, just selling it, and then you could have just bought another one or kept that one. I would have just bought another one, because at that point, like, think about the miles that would be on it, right? If you're riding 40 miles one way to work, 40 miles back, right? Because like where I live, we're in like the countryside, and like if you want to get like a decent job that pays like more, right? That pays more, you have to head to like the city, and the city is 40 miles away, which is Portland, Maine. And because I live in Naples, Maine, and I could have went to Windham, Maine, and still got a job and made $15 an hour, but which still would have been $3 more, right, an hour, which still would have been way better, right? Because like think, okay, if you're riding to Windham, right, it would only take me 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, from there to my house, right, there and back, right? If I can make $3 more there, right, and I only have to travel 20 minutes, right, instead of traveling all the way to Portland, which would have taken me close to an hour, right, there you save quite a bit of time, right? You're making $1 less, but you have less miles on the Suron, right? So there's going to be less depreciation on the Suron, right? And you're also going to have more time, right? Because 20 minutes to Windham, 20 minutes back. If you were making $15 in Windham and only had to travel 40 minutes a day, compared to if you were traveling to Portland and you had to travel 120 minutes a day, that's 80 more minutes, plus the mileage that you're putting on your electric bike. And if you have a passion, you can put that 80 minutes into it and get way more out of it. So that's what I would have done differently. I would have thought about assets differently. I didn't really think about assets, right? Because lots of people think like that their vehicle is an asset, but your vehicle is not an asset unless you outright own it. Then it's a depreciating asset, right? Most people are like, no, that's a liability because you have to fix things on it, and you have gas and all these other expenses. It only becomes a liability if you lose your job and you can't pay for it, right? But it's still an asset because you can sell it and get a bunch of money for it, and then live off that, or go buy a lesser vehicle. So people don't think about things correctly. I'm trying to turn people on, right? Because I was turned on by like Luke Belmar, and like just like watching a bunch of other people that thought about things differently to really be more awake, right? Because I was more awake to stuff already, but now it's just like, holy shit. And also, on the terms of buying back your time, let's say, or not let's say, right? Most young kids, right, if they live in the whatever, like the suburbs, or you live in the countryside, and you have a decent sized yard, right? And if you only have a push mower, right? If you only have a push mower, it's gonna take you, let's say it takes you 2 hours to mow your lawn with a push mower. But it's given to you by your parents, and your parents pay for the gas and stuff like that, right? So let's say your parents pay for the gas all the time, right? If you go and buy a riding lawnmower, right, for like $1,000, and you get a good deal, right? So let's say normally it would cost like $1,200. You're now getting it for $1,000, and you can put 100 hours on it and then sell it for the same price that you bought it for. Not really have any expenses into it because your parents pay for the gas. Maybe you have the expenses of like changing the deck belt, which is only like $50. But think about the amount of time that you save. It's gonna cut your time by like a quarter of the time, right? So like I'm just thinking about things differently. For instance, like now I'm buying a lawnmower for $900. The battery needs to be replaced. That's $50, and the belt needs to be replaced, which is $50. And so I'll be into it for $1,000. I could turn around and sell it for $1,200, right? I can put 100 hours on it, and still sell it for close to $1,200. I could probably get like $1,100 for it after I would use it for 2 years and still make $100 more. So think about assets differently, because I was thinking today, like vehicles, right? If you take care of a vehicle and you make it literally pristine, like you take care of that thing, no dents, no scratches in the paint, just like, and it doesn't have to be that much. You won't, wash it once a week. Don't take it through, only take it through touchless car washes. If you're gonna take it through a car wash, don't have any bristles or anything on it if you wash it yourself, because that's gonna scratch the paint. And then just paint correct it once a year, or you don't have to paint correct it. You paint correct it every 5 years, right? And you own it for 20 years, and let's say you put like even 100,000 miles on it, you're still gonna be able to sell it for over MSRP. Like I was looking at, like, for example, like a 2004 Chevy Silverado 1500. The MSRP was $25,000, right? Off the lot. And I was looking at it, and there's one for sale. It's like pristine condition, still looks like it was taken off the showroom floor, and they want $34,000 for it. It has like 70,000 miles, so they're getting $10,000 more. So if you don't have anywhere else that you can place your money where you're gonna make more money on your money, or interest on your money, then invest into assets that can then save you time, and you can then put that into your passion. I guess another thing that I wish I would have done was put my money into a CD. So I don't know the CD, what that is for, what abbreviation that is for, but you go to a bank and you put it into secured, maybe it's a secured, no, that's S, credited deposit, I don't know, but you put it into an account, you can't touch it for so long, and they give you a percentage on your money every year. So it may be like, it used to be like 2-3%, and actually it used to be less than that. It used to be like, if it wasn't for 6 months, you get like 1%. And I mean, now like some banks are offering like 8%. It's like crazy. So if you don't have any place to put your money, like buying assets, and so like buy assets to buy back your time and make more money, right? So like this round you're gonna make more money, and also, right, because you have more opportunity for jobs, and then also you're gonna be able to you're also going to be able to save a bunch of time, right? And then you're also saving time with the riding lawnmower. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other things that, are going to save you time that you could think of, right? I was also thinking about, okay, right? I have like a mental attachment to the house that I grew up in, the house that I live in right now, right? My mom's house. She bought it in 2017, so I've been living in it for 7 years now. But I've always had like a mental attachment to like houses and stuff like that I used to live in, at least past the age of probably 9-10 years old. And it sits on 4 acres. We have a neighbor that owns like 70 acres, right? And then the property behind me, the guy bought it 2 years ago for 200,000 and he tried to sell a bunch of it off. I don't think any of it sold. I think like one lot sold that was like 50 acres, and that's it. He uh, he built house lots on like a couple of the acres, but still, there's like he bought like 250 acres, and I mean, there's still like he tried to sell it off for like a grand amount of like 50, 500, 600,000. You know, so he was trying to make like $350,000 on his money, but I don't think any of it sold, and he just held on to it. But I was thinking, if I was to buy that when I get some money, buy the property, obviously like after I have like a good amount of money, right? If I'm going to be spending probably $1 million on property, maybe a little bit more, maybe $1.5 million on property, then I have to have something else. Like I have to have like at least like 10 mil, at least 10 mil, maybe a little bit more, maybe like 15 mil. But think, if you can make 10 mil, right? If I can make 10 mil, I probably can make $1 million a day, right? Especially with trading. Once you learn the skill, forever, you're gonna be forever lit. But yeah, if I buy the property behind me, I buy the property next to me, that's gonna be almost like 300 acres, right? Then if I clear cut the whole thing, right? And you're like, clear cut the whole thing? Why would you clear cut the whole thing? If you clear cut the whole thing, you then buy a planer, you buy a pretty much like your own sawmill, right? You could have it here, or you could buy another property where you have all the logs, probably just here, right? Because like if you have 300 acres, then you can section off like 5 to 10 acres for a place to store all the wood and everything, so you can then sell it. So clear cut the whole thing, you would probably get 300 acres per acre. I was thinking about per acre probably being close to like $30,000 an acre, maybe a little bit more, but yeah, like $30,000 an acre in wood. So I mean, you're looking at freaking $900,000 in wood, right? Then you have like, okay, you have to pay the person to cut up, cut the wood, so like the equipment costs, and you have the some other costs, but still you would come out like 500,000, because then you want to like level the whole property after, take out the stumps, level the whole property with a bulldozer, because like you don't want any like dips or anything in the property, because, or like you can have like gradual like slopes and stuff, but you don't want like any like pretty like harsh dips, because it would like the sun coming down from the sky, right? The sun coming down from the sky, there's going to be like less sun that gets to the trees, right? So then the trees may not grow as big. So because like, okay, if you have like a big like under like a covering that you cover all why can't I think of it? Pretty much like you have 4x4s, and then you have metal roofing over it. It's just like just a covering, metal roof covering. I don't know. That would probably run you like, I'd probably say like probably like 150,000, maybe not even that much. Probably like, did it yourself, I mean, you could probably, or like hired somebody to do it. I mean, you're probably like $100,000 into it, right? You buy all the other equipment that you need for, the sawmill and stuff, like to cut the logs, and then to plane the logs to make them all not rough cut. You're probably looking at like $200,000 just there, right? And then so that 900,000 to $1 million that you made, probably like $1 million, right? So now you have $800,000 left. Now you have what other expenses? You have the expenses to cut down all the trees, right? And those expenses then would what's it called? those expenses would be, I don't know, probably, because if you bought one of those big things where it just like cuts down the tree, and then you have like another one where it just like delimbs the whole thing, I mean, and then you have like a skid steer, you're probably talking about like another 100,000 to clear the whole thing, right? So now you're down to 700,000. To level the whole thing is probably gonna be like another. Well, if you bought the bulldozer, it's not gonna be that much. I mean, but then you have to pay the person. So I mean, and then the expenses are probably like another $50,000. So $650,000 your profit is down to. And then all the firewood. Think about all the firewood, because like the tops of the trees and the limbs and everything. Or you just throw the limbs and chip the limbs and make what's it called? Make wood chips, and then just sell the wood chips, right? And then all the like the tops of the trees, you just do firewood with them. And I mean, shit, 300 acres, like you could probably get, I don't even know, because my great uncle, he does firewood, and I think off of like 100 acres or something, he got like, I don't even know, I want to say it was like 2,000 cord of wood. So I mean, you're probably talking like 5,000 cords of wood, probably close to that. So I mean, 5,000 cords of wood. I mean, a cord of wood in the wintertime, it's like $400 per cord, right? So just there, if you have 5,000 cords, you're talking about $2 million just in firewood. So, but then again, you're only taking the top, so I'd probably say like $1 million. So I mean, you'd be like $1.65 million out. Plus, then you have to pay the equipment cost to split all that wood and stuff like that, and then pay the person to split all that wood, and then pay, if you're gonna sell all that wood, pay to sell all that wood and stuff like that. So I mean, those expenses would probably be like 20,000. So I mean, then, or sorry, 200,000. So you're down to like 1.45. So I mean, you're still looking at, you're probably coming out like positive, like 1.2, 1.3 million. And then also, once you level the whole thing, you just plant a bunch of trees there, right? You plant a bunch of hemlock trees, because hemlock trees are already there. And then in 20, 30 years, those hemlock trees, when you cut them out and everything, all that wood, if wood prices continue to go up, like they have within the last 30 years, because hemlock trees take 30 years to grow, that's going to be like close to, I did the calculations, and it was like close to $20 million. Plus you have that all that property. And I'm going to put like a massive ass house, like either like sell this house that's here, right, just with a little bit of property, or build a massive ass house, right? So like sell this house, and then like some of like the property around it, because like you could like sell this house and some of the property around it, or just sell this house with 1 acre, right, or like the minimum that you need, and then sell the other house that's next to us for like probably like, I don't know, at least 400,000. So between both of them, you can get like $1 million, right? And then keep the land that's all around them, right? And then either like develop it, so you have like houses there, or not. And then you would still have like, because like if you developed it and put like, say like 10 houses, you would still have like 250 acres that you can do with. So, and if you developed it, you could still make like a pretty good amount. That would pay for the cost of building a giant ass house. Yeah. I'd probably say like 10,000 square feet with like a pool, you know, a pool, a tennis court, a huge ass lawn. I mean, I'd probably say like a 10-acre plot. So like probably like $5 million. Alright, houses ain't that expensive to build. Like motherfuckers be paying like, you look at houses in like other areas, and like they're fucking like $250,000, $300,000, while in our area people are paying $600,000 for the same house. It's like, wait, the materials cost the same because we're all in the United States, and prices are all the same around. So you're getting raped up the asshole, right? And people just pay it because like they're just like fucking dummies, just drones. The people are so fucking fucked. Like, oh, I'll just pay this because somebody told me it was a good investment to buy a house, right? I saw Grant Carter and he was like, if the average person should just always rent for the rest of their life, and then only buy a house if you have a bunch of money, and then start buying real estate and renting it out. And I'm thinking to myself, that is horrible advice, because the average person can't pay their fucking bills. So you're gonna tell them to rent to get in this endless cycle of not owning anything, right? Because like, think, the average person ain't like, they'll just take advice from anybody. So I mean, you just like, even if you just fucked up like somebody's life, that's 30 more years that they're gonna have to work, because now they can't sell their home and move to somewhere else and retire off that money. It's so fucked. Like where we are, my mom bought her house for like $200,000, and now it's worth like $600,000 in 7 years. In 10 more years, it'll be worth $1 million at least. So I mean, property values will go up. I'm gonna at least own at least 250 acres in Naples, Maine, and I'm going to at least try buy like at least like another like 50 to 100 acres to develop, because like, if it only costs $250,000 to $300,000 to build a normal house, I rent the motherfuckers out, because think, let me sell, probably rent them out, because the appreciation and value is going to be insane in the next 10 years, especially here in Naples. Like, there's a 50-acre plot of land right now in Naples, right up the road, probably about 10 miles, for $200,000. If you develop the whole thing, in Naples, you have to have like an acre of land to put a house on it. And put two buildings on one piece of land. So you could put a house on one, and then you could put a garage with an apartment above and rent them both out. And like, so you could be, and like the rents here are like freaking, they're astronomical. They're like $3,000 for like 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's like insane. Like, what the fuck? So I mean, you build 50 of those, right? 50 of those, right? Multiplied by the $300,000 per rental, and you're looking at 3,000 times by 50 would $150,000 per month, and you're paying, probably looking at, to build all of those, $300,000 per, and yeah, $300,000 per house to build, and you're gonna be able to get $3,000 a month. But yeah, 300,000, right? And you're building 50 of them, right? So that's $15 million that you're building, right? $15 million. That's roughly the budget. It'll probably be about 16 million. And then, okay, you build a garage on each of them. You put an apartment above, and make it a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Those motherfuckers rent out for like 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Naples. Rents out for, if you want to